The Chanel fashion house has not really commented on any of this, and the only thing they said. So basically in this video, I will be exposing the atrocities of one of the biggest, most influential, most iconic, most legendary fashion houses in existence, Chanel. And the main topics of discussion will basically revolve around the fashion designers Gabrielle Coco Chanel herself and also Karl Lagerfeld. And I will not be talking about their background information because I don't care. And also I'm not like a biography scholar or whatever, so I will be talking about some of the most questionable things that they have done or said throughout their careers. And now before I officially start, I would like to officially state and declare that I think that they are both extremely talented designers and they are some of the best in their fields, and they absolutely did revolutionize the fashion industry, and they have been inspiring generation after generation, and they will continue to do so obviously. But they are not really as flawless or as graceful as they might predominantly be portrayed in the media. And yes, I mean, like, I do realize that we all make mistakes and we all have flaws in everything, but some mistakes simply cannot be overlooked, especially when they are harmful and malicious. So anyways, I will start by talking about Karl Lagerfeld, who is Chanel's current creative director, and he has been as such since 1983. And he undeniably is one of the main reasons as to why Chanel is as big and as desired and coveted as it is today. And he is mainly known for his sunglasses and his white hair, but he is not known for being the nicest person out there. Like, he constantly bashes and ridicules people for their appearances and the way they look. And honestly, like, what even gives you the right to do so? Like, what makes you think that you can do that? Like, you need to realize that class and elegance are not only manifested in the way you look and how you dress, but they should also be manifested in how you speak and the things you say. And I have actually prepared a list of some of the horrific things that he has said. People who have plastic surgeries look like they flew through the windshield in a car accident. I do not like Kate Middleton's sister's face. She should only show her back. Adele is a little too fat, but she has a beautiful face. Russian men are very ugly. Greeks have a reputation for being corrupt, and they have some very disgusting habits. No one wants to see curvy women on the catwalk, and the only people that have an issue with size 0 models are fat mommies with bags of crisps. Underweight models are not pressured by the industry. They most likely have family issues and some other traumas. Like, honestly, like, why can't you just keep your thoughts to yourself? Like, when your thoughts are this disparaging and this demeaning, there is absolutely no use for you to publicly disclose them. And also, a person's value is not determined by the way they look or their appearance or any of that. Like, that is completely ignorant. He needs to be more vigilant and more wary of the things that he says and how damaging they could be. And some people might think that he is criticizing the world and that criticism is necessary in order for the world to evolve and develop and progress. But, like, there is a difference between criticism that is actually useful and, like, judgment and being hateful and being negative. And not only is he fatphobic, but he is also extremely misogynistic, which is actually very troubling considering the fact that he is a fashion designer that designs clothes for women. He said that he is fed up with the Me Too movement, and he also said that if you do not want your pants to be pulled about, don't become a model, become a nun instead. Like, how hard could it possibly be for you to ask a person if they are comfortable with you touching them? Like, honestly, it's not that big of a struggle, Karl. And he also made a statement about Germany's recent immigration policies and how they have accepted millions of Syrian refugees and Muslims. And he said that one cannot kill millions of Jews only to bring millions of their worst enemies in their place. Like, not only is that offensive towards Muslims and immigrants, but that is also offensive towards the Jews. And generally, Karl is a very unpleasant person, and he's judgmental, and he's rotten, and he thinks he's above the whole world. And I personally do not see a reasonable justification for that. Like, honestly, like, just shut up and stick to making clothes, please. Okay, so now moving on to Gabrielle Coco Chanel. And very concisely and very simply stated, she was affiliated with the Nazis during the Second World War. Her partner at the time was a German officer, and his name was Hans Günther von Dinklage. And he would often recruit her on missions with him, and they would go and travel throughout Europe together in order to find Nazi sympathizers to recruit and to join the Nazi party, basically. And she was mainly recruited due to all of the various connections that she had with various European political figures. And she even had her own secret agent name, and it was Agent Westminster. So that basically shows you just how involved she really was with the Nazi party. Now, her nephew was being held in a prisoner of war camp, so some people speculate that she only collaborated with the Nazis so that they would agree to let her nephew go. But she also did exploit some of the anti-Semitic laws of the time, such as the Aryan law, which is basically a law that prohibits Jews from being business owners. And around more than a decade before the Second World War started, she basically partnered up with the Jewish Wertheimer brothers, and she did so because she needed some financial assistance, and they provided. And that basically resulted in her owning only 10% of her company, and the rest belonged to the Wertheimer brothers, and that obviously made her feel very bitter. And so in 1941, when the Aryan law was officially instated, the Wertheimer brothers obviously had to abscond the Nazis, and they basically left Europe. And so Chanel attempted to take full ownership of her company, and she did so by writing to the German officers that this company belongs to Jews, so give me my shares back. But the Wertheimer brothers obviously anticipated that, and thus they sold all of their shares to a Christian friend of theirs, and Chanel's request was declined. But her niece did say that these were some very difficult times and people had to do some terrible things in order to get along. But honestly, exploiting discriminatory laws for your own benefit, that's so deplorable. You are supposed to be defying these laws and working towards eradicating them, and not for you to benefit from them, intentionally and knowingly benefit from them. And also Paris at the time was going through hell, and most of the people were suffering and struggling and everything, but she ignored all of that, and she focused on expanding her own empire and her own fortune. And later on, she was assigned another mission in which she was basically supposed to send a letter to her acquaintance, Winston Churchill, and in this letter she was basically supposed to ask him to end all hostilities with Germany, but he rejected. And there actually was an investigation regarding her involvement with the Nazis, but she was released, and some people speculate that she was only released because the British royal family and Winston Churchill himself intervened, but that is unconfirmed. The Chanel fashion house has not really commented on any of this, and the only thing they said was that her relationship with the German officer was unfortunate for the time. Overall, Chanel has been run by some very controversial and problematic figures who only seek to satisfy themselves with no regard for other people, but they have managed to build such a legendary fashion house, and they will continue to astonish and amaze and shock the world. Although I really do wish that the fashion house would have a better representation. And thank you so much for watching.